Hey everyone, Prairie Nano Reef here, back with another video on the Fluval M40. Well, it happened. So, when you've been in the hobby of reef keeping for long enough, for me it's been 5 years, you get to the point where if you look back, there's been a point in time where everything in the reef is going perfect. The operation of the tank is great, coral growth is great, the health of all the inhabitants are fantastic. Everything's just going exactly as you'd hoped. And for me, that's been the last year and a half. I've absolutely loved the progress that the tank has made, the stability that I've been able to achieve in the tank for over the last year and a half. But unfortunately, due to equipment failure, that came to an end to me, or an end for me, at the beginning of January. So, the last week of December and the first week of January, they were really busy times, getting ready for classes, dealing with a bunch of stuff at work, everything like that. And unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to do my regular water testing that I like to do. So I was kind of flying blind a little bit. And as luck would have it, those 2 weeks that I could not keep up my testing, that's when I had an equipment failure. So I first noticed it over the span of a couple days when the Montipora seemed to be losing a little bit of color, and I didn't really know what to think of it. I didn't think it was anything that serious because I had just cleaned the skimmer and changed the Chemipure, and I thought, well, maybe I had just done a little bit too much all at once and everything will be fine, it'll come back. But then over the next couple days, it started to lose more and more color, and you could tell it completely stopped growing. The tips did not look like they do when they normally grow, the white and then the bright color. So I did my normal water testing to see whether I could find out what was going on, and sure enough, my alkalinity tested at 6.8 and my calcium tested at 330. So obviously that was alarming, and I immediately went to the dose to see what was going on, and sure enough, inside the cabinet the dose was flashing orange, which means that it had disconnected with the apex. It was no longer communicating and went into failsafe mode, which is to just not dose anything. So this happened on a Friday, and my first instinct was to unplug the dose from the 1-link cable and try plugging it back in. So I did that, it went through its initiating phase and everything, went back to flashing orange. So I thought, okay, what I'll do is I will unplug everything from the 1-link module, and I will unplug the 1-link module from the apex, let that sit for a second, plug everything back in, and maybe that'll get everything to connect again. So I did that, and when everything turned back on, 1-link started up, immediately started the automatic top-off pump, and it wouldn't shut it off. So in a panic, because my tank was filling up with water, in a panic I unplugged the 1-link cable the 1-link module from the power source to stop the pump, and immediately got online emailed Neptune Systems to ask for help. So I thought that I maybe had a problem with the one link rather than the dose, which worried me because the one link runs the dose and the auto top off. And I thought I really don't want the auto top off to be out of commission because of having to send the one link in. So I was a little concerned about that. And fortunate for me, Neptune Systems, I thank them. They were really, really quick with their response. Because this happened on a Friday night, I was expecting to get a reply at the, earliest on Monday. And so that would have left me all weekend without anything. And this happened late on Friday. So, to my surprise, Neptune Systems emailed back. I believe it was later that night or even maybe in the morning the next day. And I was so thankful to get the email. And fortunately, their solution got the one link module back up and running. Just a little quirk, probably something that happened when I reconnected it. It's probably my fault for doing something in the wrong order. But anyways, the one link module is back up and running. And we determined that it was in fact the dose that was not functioning correctly. So they gave me a couple things to try to get the dose to reconnect. That included plugging it in through the Aquabus cable instead of the one link cable, and nothing worked, or nothing got it working. So I had to send it in for repair, which is unfortunate, but it was working, almost 2 years without any issue, and these things happen. So it's on the way to Neptune Systems, and I've just been doing daily water tests and dosing by hand. Now, that's where things get kind of complicated, because as everything has stopped growing, it wasn't just a matter of picking back up the daily dosing that the dose was doing anyways, because I had caught the problem too late. So it's been a lot of work to get the tank back, or to balance again. And I think I'm there, but unfortunately in the meantime, I've had some corals that are pretty upset with me right now. And one of them is the Montipora, and the other one is the Jack-o'-lantern Leptocyrus. Now, the Montipora, I expect it to make a full recovery. It's stopped losing color. In fact, I think over the last couple days, it's actually started to gain color back. And I've noticed an uptake in the amount of alkalinity in the tank again. So things seem to be starting to repair and maybe slowly start going back into growing. So I expect the Montipora to make a full recovery, but unfortunately the Leptocyrus, I'm not so sure. And I'm at the point now where I'm not sure if it's going to make it. Today, it seems to be no worse than it was yesterday, so I'm hoping that I've reached the peak of the damage done to it, and that it'll start to make a recovery, but it has lost a lot of color, and it has died back a bit, and it's really unfortunate, because that was one of my favorite corals in the tank. It was the brightest when the actinics were on. It was always one I loved the texture of it, the lines, the intricate details. It was a really, really awesome coral, and after moving it to the location it's in now, it was doing really, really good, and I was hoping that it would continue to explode, but now I'm back to square one with it, probably worse than it was before I moved it. So that's really unfortunate, but I guess these things happen. The hammer's a little bit closed up right now in the video. That's mainly because I just cleaned the glass and kind of pushed the water around it. So I wanted to thank you all for tuning in on this update. on the Fluval M40. It's really unfortunate that everything's taken this turn, but hopefully over the next couple months, the corals start to make a recovery and the tank can be back on track and heading in the right direction. So, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Happy reefing!